Dr. Sean was so incredibly helpful and personable. I think that one of the first things that I noticed about him was just how friendly he was. I feel like oftentimes you meet doctors and they can be a little bit standoffish or their ego gets in the way, and I didn't ever feel that way with Dr. Sean. I felt like I was talking to a friend. He was always very realistic with me too about expectations, and I think that when I initially went into interviewing doctors, I was expecting for these hairlines drawn down to the middle of my forehead, and when I went to Dr. Sean and he explained to me the importance of establishing a foundation, and he showed me some of the results that he had achieved with other patients, it really boosted my confidence in working with him, and ultimately that's what sold me on going with Dr. Sean. He's an expert in what he does. He is an incredibly nice person, and also he really cares about his patients. I mean, he has, to this day, I was messaging with him a couple weeks ago, just checking in on me. So I really appreciate the practice, and I'm very happy with my decision to come here. I feel great about my new hair. I kept the hairline that I previously had, but we added some fullness to it. I didn't think that I would be able to achieve what I have right now. It's wild to me to look in the mirror and not see my scalp. I think I had gotten so used to always looking up and feeling as if there was something missing. Obviously there was, my hair. But now to be able to, actually one of the things that I've started doing again is buying hair product and caring a little bit more about the way that my hair looks. Because I have hair to style now, going to the barber for the first time a couple of weeks after it started to thicken up, I think he was really shocked at what happened. He couldn't even tell that I had a procedure done. Looking at the back of my head, I had to tell him, hey, and I've had to remind him since, hey, I had a procedure done, because he was shocked about what had I done to get this thickness now that I hadn't previously had. So it's been really great. I'm really happy with the results, and I'm glad that I could treat myself. I haven't done many things like this for myself in the past, and I'm really glad that I did, and I feel like I need to be doing more things like this for myself in the future. If you're thinking about this, I would say really start to explore what your options are. Go visit doctors. I recommend coming to Dr. Sean. He did great work for me. I think that it had always been in the back of my head, I couldn't be me. I don't want to get a hair transplant. That's never something that I could do. I feel like there's a stigma around it. And when I finally did resolve that this was the only way that I was going to achieve the results that I wanted, I really wanted to be open about the procedure, and I am to anybody that asks. I told all my friends that I was going to get it done. I'm here right now talking to you, and I had a hard time previously connecting with people who I envisioned as candidates for hair transplants, and I am just so happy with the results that I got. And you cannot tell if you look at the back of my head. I go and I get a 1 all around, and you can't tell. I had FUE, so the doctor extracted individual hairs out of the back of my head, and they were transplanted to the top of my head, and it just looks so incredibly natural. The way that he structured it with doing, single follicles in the front, going back to the thicker hairs in the back, I never envisioned that it would be this natural. So definitely do it if you're even somewhat considering what your options are. Come visit Dr. Sean. He can talk you through it, provide you with a realistic idea of what you can actually achieve. So I would say that if you're thinking about getting a hair transplant, please do it for yourself. I think it was certainly an investment. It's probably the most money that I've ever spent on myself. But Dr. Sean, I think, had really reasonable prices, and just the feeling that I have now when I look in the mirror and I see the fullness in my hair, and not having to worry about how my hair looks when the wind blows, are just things that you can't put a price on. I feel even more confident than I was before, and I would highly recommend doing it. I'm so happy with the way that my hair looks now. Every time that I look in the mirror, I am just so grateful that I had such an incredible doctor and that the results were beyond what I even thought I could achieve. So thank you, Dr. Sean. You did an awesome job.
Dr. Sean here, and I'm joined with my client who I performed his hair transplant last year. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Sean.
Perfect. So, how do you like your hair?
I love it. I'm so happy with it. It's beyond what I thought I could achieve, especially considering where I was before and how far deteriorated my fullness was. It's incredible.
It's thick. It frames your face nicely. I love it.
Thank you so much.
Important thing that everybody will comment is, why didn't you lower the hairline, lower? Being conservative is key. Now that you had the procedure done, how do you like the fact that you chose to be conservative with your hairline?
I'm so happy with the decision to keep it conservative and your approach to it, and that was one of the reasons why I ultimately chose you to do it. I don't want people to look at my hairline and be able to tell that I had something done. I've had a high hairline since I was in high school, and it's part of who I am, and I'm comfortable with that. And I think that at the end of the day, I just wanted something that enhanced the way that I already look. And I'm really, really happy at the conservative approach. I have not had anybody that I've told been able to tell that I've actually had a transplant. I've had to go out and tell them, hey, this is what I did, because they notice that something's changed about me. They can't put their finger on it. So.
Exactly. So being conservative is the key. You could dense it up. It's natural. It's age appropriate. It's you. Yeah. It's not too low. Other people won't figure it out. You won't burn through a lot of hair from the donor area. And I see a lot of people that they get hair transplant, they lower it too low, and they're in trouble, right? It doesn't look natural, doesn't sit right. As they get older, it is not age appropriate, and they overutilize a lot of the hair in the back. So I love this. It looks thick, it's natural. Nobody can figure it out. It's just you.
I mean, now they can tell. So.
Now they can tell, but typically, right? It just blends in naturally. And if you actually, we're gonna zoom in a second. The hair just flows, and that's actually very important. So, and this is an art. So I really love it. Either congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Would you recommend it to other people?
I would for sure. No, from the procedure all the way up to recovery, and how helpful you were throughout that, I would definitely recommend. I wish I had done it earlier, so I could, have back some of those bad pictures that happened over the past couple of years, but I'm really happy with the procedure, happy with you too.
Well, the important thing is not when you do it, is that when you do it the right way, you know, and unfortunately, most of my patients are people who did it at the wrong time, wrong way, right? They overutilize the hair, they load it too much, then they have to use body hair to compensate. But even if you lose more, which will eventually happen, you still have enough hair to actually implant, and that's important. It's great, and I love the conservative approach. I'm really glad that you guided me in,
throughout this process and the way that it turned out. I just can't thank you enough.
Awesome, well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. Now I'm gonna just, okay, could you please look down for me just a bit?
Yeah.
And so this is all the transplanted hair, and it looks so natural. You could see at the hairline, all the single hair follicles, it blends in with its own natural peak, and then behind that are the 2s and 3s, so it gives a sense of thickness, and that actually is very, very important. Excellent. And do you mind just turning around so we look at the donor area? This is the donor area, and you cannot tell that anything was done. The thickness is actually still there. I'm just gonna comb up, and you could barely tell, and this is important. This is an art, right? It has to be harmonious, balanced. Everything must fit in, and that's what I do. Perfect, congratulations.
Thank you.